Well, from these benches, we're certainly not convinced that they do.
Yeah.
My Lords, very briefly, I think the danger with 158 is that it discredits media literacy as being something that is, as it were, benign and anodyne or whatever, and becomes a political plaything. So that's the first thing. I mean, I'm already sceptical, but if ever there was anything to add to it, it's that. Secondly, I'm actually very anxious about the notion that media literacy would be used in this way, using the examples of public health or safety, because actually all my examples of where it's all gone horribly wrong in terms of government politicisation or a politicised intervention into social media companies, for example, has been around recently the lockdown and COVID. I'm very worried about some of that. I'm going to talk about that later. I don't want to be in a situation now where, and we've had nudge units. There's all sorts of scandals, which I won't go on about. But I do think there's a real problem then if this is kind of offloaded onto Ofcom, or Ofcom is instructed to do something that will actually be effectively the government interfering in what social media is allowed to say or do, what people are to understand to be the truth. It's going to discredit that. And Lord Moylan made a very good point last week, or the last time we had committee, which is, sometimes if you think about it, or when I'm trying to assess this, I understand that the Secretary of State is elected, Ofcom is an unelected regulator. In many ways it's more democratic that the Secretary of State should be openly politicised. But my concern in this instance is that the Secretary of State actually forces the unelected Ofcom to do something that actually the government won't do directly, but will do it behind the scenes. And that's the danger. And that actually we won't even be able to see it correctly. And that then it emerges for the public as media literacy or something of that nature, and that actually obfuscates accountability even further. So I have a lot of sympathy with the stand part, as has been explained.